at the time on the subject of support system. My parents were supportive because they're used to me doing things that make them go, what? But my mother at first she was kind of like, when the subject would come up, you would see her freeze, like, can we change the subject?
I'm sorry, the subject of becoming a surrogate or a gay?
No, on the subject of surrogacy at all, because I hadn't raised the other yet. Well, I didn't want to talk about it until the decision was made, because I didn't want to put them in a position of thinking they could change my mind. Do you know what I'm saying? Once it's done, and you deal with it. And so I didn't say anything at first, but I had talked to my brother. My brother and I are very close. He's an attorney in Dallas, and I had told him way before I found Circle that I really liked the idea of working with a gay couple, and he was extremely supportive, and I told him that one of my top reasons for making that decision was that I was determined to drag my parents out of their little dark hole, because to them, gay is just some amorphous group of miscreants who are out there trying to make trouble for the rest of us. But also, they live in the middle of the Bible Belt, and like there are no gay people in the Bible Belt, but we don't talk about it, and they have no gaydar at all. They think everybody's straight. And so, but some people are just more creative than others. So, my mother she was trying really hard to be supportive, but she was having to try really hard. But she just needed some time to ask the questions that she had and to come to a better understanding that this was not going to be her grandchild, and that I really did know what I was doing, and that I had done my homework, and it wasn't a rash decision, and it wasn't going to ruin my life. And once she was able to come to that, she was then the frozen smile melted, and it was much, I could tell that she was really getting comfortable with the whole thing. My stepfather, who is basically the one who raised me, he's significantly more conservative, but he was supportive of me, and the concept didn't affect him the way it did my mother. So for a while that wasn't an issue. But when it became that it was time for me to come here for my screening, just so the doctors could verify that my uterus had not fallen out in the 2 years since my son was born, I was excited about the thought of Mom and me and Mackie and Dane getting to go to New York. But I knew, okay, well, now it's time, because Pierre and Sebastian are going to be there, and it would be wrong of me to just let her guess, So when the decision was made, and she was excited, and I knew that the trip was going to be a really good way to make her okay with the situation, because she was so excited about the trip. And so I said, okay, Mom, the tickets are going to be bought tomorrow. I was on the phone. I said, so it's time for me to tell you that Pierre is gay, and if this is going to affect your ability to go and enjoy and support, you need to know now before the itinerary is finalized. And she was very smooth. I was so proud of her. She said, well, as long as they are not going to be physically affectionate in front of Mackie, as though Mackie was the issue. And I said, you know what, Mom, I have no idea. People are people, and we're going to New York, and I think that's likely to be the least of your concerns. Actually, the main thing she was afraid of in New York is that she was going to turn and see a dead body with police tape around it. And so then the next day, she called me and she said, okay, I have to give you a heads up, because Jimmy is my stepfather. She said, Jimmy's on his way over there, and he's all hot because I had to tell him, and now he's coming over there to try to talk you out of it. And I just said, he never wins these battles with me. Why does he keep trying to do this? And I went in. It was an afternoon. School was out, and my kids were home. And I went into the parlor, the family room, and I said to Mackie, I said, I need you to keep the little guys in here. I'm going to close this door, because Pappy, that's what we call him, Pappy. Pappy's coming over to fuss at me, and I need to be with him alone. And she said, why is he going to fuss at you? And I said, well, he just found out that Pierre's gay, and so he's coming to tell me not to do this. And Mackie said, just like that. And I said to myself, that's it right there. All of my reasons for making this decision are wrapped up in that one incredulous face and little guttural sound from her. Because in that one little sound, she said, first of all, that's ridiculous. Why would he have a problem with that? And second of all, she said that she felt she had the right to say that that was ridiculous, even in someone that she's been taught to love and respect. And I take very seriously my job of raising my children to be better than my generation was. If I want my kids to live in a society of liberty and justice for all, it's my job to make sure that they go, oh, over stuff like that. And so that was it. That was, if I had any doubts or any fear about facing my stepdad on the subject, that did it right there. That was my answer. My dad came, and by the time he got there, I had worked my speech out. And my stepfather makes his living traveling around doing school assemblies, and he talks about bullying, and he talks about being a hero instead, and then he talks about don't do drugs and stay at school. And so, but his big thing is bullying, because he was bullied as a child, and now he's a really big guy and nobody would bully him. But that's his real big thrust, to talk to kids about being proactive, being a hero instead of being a bully. And so, you see where this is going, it's all worked out. But when he tried to start making his little speech, which started with scripture quoting, and I knew it was going to start with that, and I said to him, I said, just stop, because I know all of this that you're going to say, and it's not going to change my mind at all. But I said, here's the thing, I'm being a hero, and you're being a bully. And he stopped and he looked at me, and I said, if you were in middle school, you would push Pierre down on the playground and call him a fag, and you would be wrong. And do you know he started crying? And by the time he left, he was hugging me and his shoulders were shaking. And I'm going, yes, more. So after that, Jimmy, though he would still tell you, well, I haven't changed the way I feel about it, but he became so supportive. He was the one who would drive me back and forth to Dallas for the doctor appointments through my first trimester, and he would keep the kids for me anytime I needed to go, if I had an appointment or if I just needed to sleep. We came here, we went to New York, which sounds so far away, here we are. We came to New York, we had a wonderful time. My uterus had not fallen out at all. The doctor we actually had it was the Connecticut fertility, what's it called? Fertility Association. The doctor actually declared that I was born to be pregnant. So, and my mother like patted herself on the back for that. She felt she had credit for that genetically. So, and we got to see the Statue of Liberty in Ground Zero, and we shopped in. We had a wonderful time. We really bonded. My mother completely set herself up as the grandmother already, and she was like buying books for the baby, and you know, signing it Mammy. And so I said, this is good. We can do this.